Hi there, it's Pete, Mindwiseman's channel, aka Maverick Outdoors, and it's the end of July 2020 and I'm out for a couple of nights over 3 days doing a canoe wild camp at one of my old haunts that I've been to before. And it's the first video this year, 2020, unprecedented turmoil times that have affected many people around the world, but of course people's different circumstances have affected their leisurely pursuits, basic daily lifestyle in general. So I wanted to come out and video this, share it with you, make contact, touch base where there's maybe more unpredictabilities to come. I hope everyone's doing well as best as they can, their own health, well-being and welfare for themselves, their family, friends. So let's just say all the social distancing that's been applied over the past few months, it's been lifted slightly, but then we don't know if it's going to kick in again. But lucky enough I've been able to come out for a few days, share this experience with you. A couple of new bits of kit, a couple of maybe different techniques from usual. So just touching base with this video for my faithful followers, new subscribers. I mean, YouTube has changed quite a lot over the past couple of years. I mean, there's hundreds of YouTube channels now on wild camping, canoeing. When I first started out in 2008, 2009, there wasn't many people in the UK, if at all. I didn't know of any other channel that was wild camping out in the canoe and doing activities in the canoe, bushcrafting, living outdoors via travelling with a canoe. And now there's quite a few other people that are doing it, either people that have followed me, got ideas, or people independently that are already canoeists have joined the YouTube bandwagon. So maybe I don't get as many views as I used to because, well, due to the fact that if there's so many different channels that are doing different activities, and especially since it's become more fashionable and people's interest in bushcrafting, even preparedness, survival, just generally living outdoors and enjoying yourself leisurely or having big challenges. There's lots of groups on social media that have started out over the past couple of years, and there's new people that have come onto the scene. And let's just say over the past couple of years where there have been people that follow new groups, sometimes don't even know some of the earlier channels that they actually exist. So with some of the new people, there was one person who put up a thing on social media saying that there's about half a dozen people that he's followed over the years that have inspired him to get out, and I was one of them. So I just messaged him back to his group on social media and said, oh, thanks for that, you know, humbled by your positive comments, and you know, I do my thing, and if people can get other ideas and inspired to do it, then that's absolutely brilliant. And I think there are a few people in that group that didn't even know who I was and thinking, Mindwiseman, Pete, what's he all about then? So I really appreciate people that still follow my channel, that keep faithful with it. Oh, there's a leisurely plane going over ahead. That's the first plane I've heard all day. So when I arrived here yesterday afternoon, I was paddling around, hoping that I could actually get somewhere to moor up and then use this pitch for the next few days. And as I got closer to where I wanted to moor up, I noticed there was some narrow boats, river dwellers, and virtually every open space that you could wild camp on a bank was taken. taken. So I went up to a group of people near what I wanted to moor up and pitch, and just said, was anyone associated to the narrow boats, which was near to the bank that I wanted to unload and moor up. And anyway, I had a brief chat, and I said, look, I don't want to invade your privacy, but just wondering if it'd be okay, if you mind, if I just moor up near to where your narrow boats are. There's no skullduggery going on. I genuinely want to pitch up here, and the space that's beyond, that's where I'll pitch up, but I won't invade your privacy. But upon that, the bloke was quite appreciative that I bothered to even ask and introduce myself, and said that there'd be a fire space that I'd be welcome to join them sort of later on or any time during the time that I'm here. So that was quite nice, but I've just wanted to keep myself to myself for the time being, just be in my own headspace, a little bit of solitude. So of course I'm surrounded by lots of other people that are enjoying the outdoors on the River Thames in the rural part of the Old Dark. And if I couldn't have found a space, I might have had to go back home or find somewhere that I wasn't expecting to go that would have been a new place I would have had to recce. But what I'll do is I'll take you back to the beginning of this journey and then catch you again in a little while when I'm making something to eat. I'll meet you back over here in a little while. that lays across there, and then I've got my other little small rack. Got the chicken wings that I marinated myself with 5-spice soy sauce, hoisin sauce, a little bit of pepper. That was in the cooler box, so that fills up. It's just come out of the fridge. It's that cool. It's been in there for about a day and a half. And then what I'll do is, so I can move this off of here if I need to, then I'll put the chicken wings on there. So then I can lever it with a fork or another little utensil I've brought for the first time to bring this up. So that's my cooking grill, and get the coals, a few more bigger ones, and then shove them underneath. And then start to cook them spicy chicken Chinese wings. So that was all the cool food that I needed. I had another ice block there, a block with the little silver cap, and then one that's built into the lid. I half froze the milk, that kept everything cool, so everything's now as if it's cool from the fridge. There's bacon left for tomorrow. There's also 2 beef burgers which have got bone marrow in, special ones, so I've got them underneath the bacon there. Didn't bring my little plastic food boxes with the white lid. Bought that little green bag that you've seen me use before. Again, if you follow my travels, you've seen that instead, because my plastic boxes I'm using for my prep storage of food, so it's easier to put hard containers that you might store somewhere with a little handle, and when you need to utilise them, obviously I have done and prepare them with my food storage, so they're more practical at home, domestic. So I've got the 2 jacket potatoes. Anything that wasn't perishable, that's long life, was put in that food bag. And then those jacket potatoes will be put in the foil in the coals when I get a few more and bigger. And then also get the chicken on the go with the coals under the grid, and that meal's going to be pretty yummy. Chicken wings were absolutely scrumptious, even with the sort of skin and outside gets a little bit slightly charcoal burnt. It's totally different than it being burnt in the oven or anything like that. Didn't lose its flavour, tangy. As the flames have died down, I've got about another maybe 10-15 minutes. Those potatoes are quite big, so I scraped the coals that were under the grid of where the chicken wings were back on with the other coals. And in that mound somewhere is 2 jacket potatoes finishing off roasting in their jackets. Another 10-15 minutes. Split them open. They'll be steamy hot, nice and fluffy, crispy skin. Wedge of butter on both halves. So that's 4 wedges because I've got 4 halves. And some ground black pepper. Awesomeness. And then to top it off, one of the narrowboat dwellers passed by and said, "Have you got a cup?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Do you want some ice?" I went, "Yeah." He said, "You got a drink?" He said, "Because you know, get your drinks cold." I said, "Well, my ice box has sort of defrosted, but everything's cool." I said, "But I've got a fruit juice." I said, "That'll go down well." So I poured that in my enamel mug. He offered me the bag of ice that he'd just gone and bought, and put them in. It was a bit surreal. Narrow boat dweller giving me some ice. He said he would have had some. He used it all that was in his little fridge compartment where he's got a generator on board the boat. So he thought, well, he had to go and get a few supplies from the local shop. So he left his narrowboat, got his canoe, left it with another narrowboat dweller that he knows the other side, so he could stay there safe. Went for a little trek to the local shop, came back, and that's when he had the ice. How cool is that? Literally. Coolio. And on that note, I'm going to get ready for my jacket spuds. Okay, so it's coming up to about 11 o'clock at night. I had a nice freshen up. I'll show you a collapsible bucket that my sister bought me for my outdoor pursuits, and I've used it a couple of times, and I used it about half an hour ago to get some soapy wash body suddy water and a flannel, only about a litre, and douche myself really nice. I've been using wet wipes but sort of water and a bit of a soapy mixture really sort of clears the pores of the skin. I really feel refreshed now. And then had a rinse over with then just clear water, and quite refreshened up. So I now got my camo t-shirt on and my trousers. But I don't know if you can hear any music in the background, but there's a little mini festival going on just over 100 metres from where I am, where I was saying some of the narrowboat dwellers, river dwellers, have all gathered together, and there's some fire juggling, and they've got a rotating light sort of thing. It looks like alien spacecraft going through the trees. It keeps changing colours. I'll see if I get a close up. You'll probably see the flames in a minute. Hold on a second. Let me share this view with you. Just over 100 metres away in a clear bit of space, set back from the riverbank, and you can see he's got this sort of juggling sticks, and then also he had some cords that you swing around and they're sort of ignited. How weird is that? It's picking up like circles, but from what I can see with the naked eye, it's actually special little juggling things that are attached to a rope, sort of swing them around. And my camera's picking up as if it's like orange circles. Oh well, that's a bit of festival entertainment for tonight. And there's the kaleidoscope lighting effect going up through the trees. Time for a brew, methinks. Good morning. I had a good night's sleep. Normal sleep setup as I've done a few times before, but adapting it depending on the temperature and the conditions of the night. Compared to last night when I just slept in my Army issue tropical lightweight quick drying British Army issue shirt. I've not used this actually for quite a while, and but I dyed it black so it just had a bit less of a military but urban look to it, and I had that over my t-shirt. But last night it was a little bit chilly. There was a breeze kicking up after about midnight, so I donned my softy jacket underneath my two-season Tropical Army sleeping bag, where it's fully open, but I just have the end zipped so it just hooks over the top of my shoes. I loosen the laces on my shoes but keep them tied up just if I have to get up during the middle of the night for any quick response to anything. I always like to keep my footwear on. And tuck my trouser legs in my socks just in case any creepy crawlies attempted to crawl up trouser legs. And it's one of my usual sleep bases. Two 1.2 metre Army issue lightweight self-inflated, they just weigh just over half a kilo, but one's staggered further down, so one's underneath. The one that's underneath then gives me a bit of an angle for a bit of padding for sort of a pillow area. And again, you've seen this before if you follow my travels, but depending what I've got will depend on what I bridge up to bulk up to make the pillow. So I had some floating tow rope, so that speaks for itself really, and that's just the right angle to tilt my head when I'm sleeping at night. Another detail in respect to my footprint, the sun rises from that direction, and if I left my water and cool box there it would obviously get warmed up during the morning hours. So last night, as I did the previous night, put it under the chair, which was under the tarp in case it rained, so it was in the shade, but now the sun's sort of moving around this way, I can put it back into my admin space ready to cook. Plus, in relation to the whole of the profile of the tarp, there was a fire pit just there, and it was a little bit of an insert with some coal, so I just covered it up with cut grass that I got from over there, and then just padded it so it's just easy to walk on it and not kick up any soot and coals, which I could have cleared out, but I wanted to leave it as part of a solid base, and then that's just sort of like laid it, crisscrossed it, and that's been there all the time I've been here. So it's just a bit of a mat area really, just to cover up something that was very impractical considering the fixings and uprights governed where I had to put this tarp, and that was partially in the way. Airing my clothes and sleeping bag just like I did yesterday. I was going to pack the sleep kit and any extra clothing to sleep at night away in my kit bag to get it out of the way, but I'm not sure if I'm going to stay for another night yet. So at least if I air it, they're fresh and reasonably aired for later on if I do stay another night. And as always, on this front corner I always put my heavy duty working kit. Speaks for itself what you can see, and again, if you follow my travels, you've not seen that before, but you see me use this inserted along there. There's two other blades, but this one's the wood cutting one, so I use this with ease to cut a lot of the thicker pieces of wood for my fire pit last night. El Cheapo folding saw secateurs, and I've not used these, but they are handy if you just want to clip all the little overgrowth off of certain bits of wood you want to burn. And then my real basic small machete, stainless steel. I had this for about nearly 10 years now, so I thought I'd bring that with me. Have my knee pads, but I didn't want to put these on necessarily if it's going to get hot and sweat. They're lightweight, got the canoe so I could bring them, so there's a pad there just to make that a little bit easier if I want to sit away from my armchair just on the stool. That knee pad, and then this folding one, so I can take a knee pad with me. I had one by the fire pit when I was kneeling down digging the pit and then having to lean down when I was cooking the food. That one for the chair and the floor if I need to, and of course this folding one which always stays here. So if I'm getting into my bag and I'm not kneeling like I am at the moment, when I deflate this, and sometimes I have this as a bit of a sit pad on the floor if I need to sit on the floor just briefly, but when this wasn't here, just got that, put it on the ground, kneeled on it to get anything out of the bag or any sort of admin I need to do this side of my foot. I was recharging yesterday right in the bright sun my phone with the solar panel, but here I've got my Blitzwolf recharge unit, does the phone about 4 times, and just using that for convenience. I put some pictures up on social media, had a chat to one of my outdoorsy friends who want to know what I was up to. Normally when I'm out doing my thing, I'll just have the phone for emergency backup, obviously for comms, communication, as and when if I need to unexpectedly. But I tend not to sort of socialise on the phone, but I'll use it for social media, and also maybe using it as backup to take some stills and photograph of anything that I'm doing. All important gaffer duct tape. This stuff I think is about £2.50 from Lidl supermarket. Really strong. You can sometimes get this on eBay for maybe 5-6 quid. You might get free postage, but this stuff is blinking bomb proof. It's really sticky. You can hear it and see it. It sticks to virtually all surfaces, so I always carry this around with me. I've got a few of these dotted around for preparedness in the house as well. Really great, handy to have as backup for anything you need to either attach, like I did with this. Uses of it are as limited as your imagination. Simple stuff, getting the fire going. Cheap little eco-friendly fire lighters, and always bring this for backup if anything fails mechanical. I've always got that for emergencies. Hexi stove. Partially deflated mats so I can fold them in half without them springing back. Put that on my headspace. Convenient kneeling pad. Now let's get onto this little beauty monster. Most of you that follow my outdoors activities will know that I like to have a nice sturdy hand trowel. It's normally a garden trowel, but one that's sort of sturdy enough to dig into fibrous ground, like for fire pits and that sort of thing. Also, over the past couple of years, I've used my bolo machete for cutting wood, so it's multi-purpose. Being careful, putting protective gloves on, holding that. Obviously it's a small handle because it's not made to dig, but I've dug many a fire pit with my bolo machete, as you'd have seen in the past, and it's not even blunted the blade. But I wanted to invest, been thinking about it for a long time, in a compact, sturdy little travel shovel. Without going into the names of them, there's a lot on the market, a lot of sturdy ones, military versions, which are a little bit bigger than the one I've just shown you. But I was sort of looking at them, and I really liked the cover, the protective cover on this. Popper studs. It's made by Condor. Some of the stuff they're actually making nowadays is becoming really good quality, and there's lots of different variations of kit they're now making based on metal tools, knives, blades, machetes, and of course this. I think they brought this out and promoted it just a couple of years ago, but you can see it's even got a bottle opener on it. I haven't used that yet. It's got a serrated edge, which is really handy if you're sort of like digging into fibrous or slightly rooty ground, and there's a cutting edge there which I've actually chopped wood with. The first time I used it properly was in my back garden when I was putting a base down for my shed, and I was putting concrete blocks and then putting damp proof course over the top, then put the shed base on, and it just ripped through the ground, and it was quite fibrous as well. It was near to a conifer tree where the roots sort of spread out, and there was some quite thick fibres, about the thickness of my finger, that were within the little tiny inserts I wanted to bed with sharp sand and cement the concrete blocks, and it just ripped through them without any problem. Really sturdy. You can tell, you can see by the way it's made. But the handle, it's got a metal cap on the end that can be used if you just need to push something, and obviously don't use it like a sledgehammer. But you'll notice I've personalised the handle with my pyrography wood burning kit with little patterns just on the handle, and personalise it, and then also just put a little triangle of just burn marks, just personalising it, and on the back as well. And I got this from a reasonably new company in the UK called EDC Gear that do camping kit and of course items like this, and I got a 10% discount on this. Not that I'm promoting it for that company, but just to let you know. Yeah, really good bit of kit. One of the best items I've bought for hardcore use in a long time. Really good multi-purpose. You can also loop it through webbing on your rucksack, but personally I don't like poppers attaching to outside of kit, and if it gets snagged it can get pulled off. You'll probably feel it anyway, but that's a nice little touch. So what I might do is actually somehow try and create a permanent fix where these don't come undone via the popper, and then if I did actually put it on webbing on the back of my rucksack if I'm trekking into the woods, that sort of thing. But I normally put this in my kit bag with heavy duty stuff, which is that camo bag, which is Dutch Army for their sleep mat, but I use that to put all my shelter kit and tools in. Here's the collapsible bucket I use for me freshen up. I use that at the prepper meet as well. It collapses down. Family and friends always never know what to get me for gifts like Christmas or birthday, so this was kindly given to me by my sister for, I think it was a Christmas present about 2 years ago, 2 Christmases ago. So I've started to use it. But if it's something that needs to go into a pocket or side pouch when you're going minimalist with kit, then obviously I'd use one of my other fold-in flat plastic buckets. So I'm just going to get some breakfast on the go. You can see I've just put the windshield round. There's a little bit of breeze coming across this way, so I want to save fuel and get all the heat directly vertically up under whatever utensil I'm wanting heating up. But using all the surfaces, the cool box, the jerry can, stick table, just to sort of work around me like I normally do. Folding open number 8, always use this for prepping food, just keeping it separate for that. Got a little chopping board, easy to transit. Sometimes I use a lid of a container, but I didn't have any reasonable containers with me this little camp out. So I got this from the pound shop, and then cutting it on in the bag that the bacon came in, just putting that on the surface so it doesn't get all greased up, so I don't have to really make it a mission to have to wash it straight away. There's no juices or fat or residue left over from the bacon, so that's sort of still relatively clean. Chopped up bacon, streaky, and going to scramble some eggs, and then have some bread thins with it and wash it down with that 3-in-1 coffee. This little Maxpedition pouch was given to me by one of my customers that bought the Maverick Explorer inflatable canoe, and very kindly gave me this, and I use it as my little tech bag. Little battery recharge unit there, high powered torch that I carabiner to my belt loop, head torch, and here what I call a little mini fluorescent lamp given to me by a family member for Christmas, I think Christmas or birthday over the past year or so, but it's got 3 settings. Press the top button, there's one a bit lower, and then flashing red light. Obviously you can't see its brightness during the daylight, but it is very, very luminous, and it's got a magnetic stopper which you can adhere to. I know that's not, it's stainless steel, it's not magnetic, but if it was, believe me, I could just fix it onto there and it would actually stay in position, turning it around wherever you want it. It's also got a little belt clip there, but I don't like using those unless it's something stationary where I'm just leaving it there for a moment on a belt clip where I'm not going to move in case it gets lost. But again, it's handy. But this is really nice, little pen size, so I use this quite a lot now. Batteries in there for the head torch. I use this pouch separately to put my video camera that I'm using now, and I normally carabine that onto a utility belt that I may be wearing. But actually this came with this part of the pouch. You can see that would loop unpopper through there and that would fix on there, but I use that separately. But I brought it out this weekend, this other part of it that's got the belt attached to it. It's got two zip parts to it, my wallet, ID and any backup money I need in that little bit of the zipper pouch. Then the front here I put my phone and other little sundries, just quick access stuff. Little clip-on carabiner there if I need to, a loop there, all quite soundly made. This cost me £2.50 about, blimey, 12 years ago from Lidl. So another little bit of gadget pouch waist attachment kit thingies, and what is known as a deployment bag based on military, but it's really great. Seen me use this before, but it depends what I'm doing and where I'm going as to what each pouch is for. My wash kit, sundries, wet wipes in that one, fire starting kit in there, binoculars and a couple of little techno stuff. What else have I got in there? Oh yeah, me EDC attachment, fire steel, torch, tin opener, lighter, which I'll keep in there if I don't attach it to my person. And then in here got my sunglasses, tripwire alarm, other little utility pieces for my camera, extension rod or a little G-clamp instead of using a tripod. So that's a little techno pouch. And in this one, depending, got me waterproofs and one of the folding bowls I was talking about earlier that I always keep in there anyway. That holds about 4 litres. You can see it unfolds. I've got a little bit of wire around it, but I also use it when I've unfolded it and the little circular wall is up. Holds 4 litres. I'll wire this and fold it over just to keep some sort of stability within the shape of the bowl itself, but I always keep that in this bag anyway. Mora 510 with Ranger band and paracord always attached to it. Always have that attached to this particular bag, and sometimes another rucksack, but it tends to stay there all the time. And then my techno bag, which has got the batteries in, torches, all my sort of electrical kit, and my first aid kit goes in that end pouch. Even if I come out to the same locations using some of the same kit, but different variations as I've shown you in this video. And even more touching base with my subscribers after such a long break from doing any videos for one reason, shape or form over the past sort of 8-9 months. Out in the Maverick Explorer Mark 1 that I got initially made just nearly 4 years ago now. Improvisation, little technique I used last night when I hung these trousers up. I just wanted to air them if I was going to wear my shorts today, but I still got me long, lightweight cotton cargo trousers. But what I did, I opened the fly, buttoned it over the top of the guy line, and then what I did, I got one of the belt loops of the trousers, and you can see how I've sort of toggled it with a piece of stick, pulled it out, and they're sort of draped down, so they've got a little bit more of an easy airing rather than having to take pegs. Always improvise little bits of stick and wood for any little jobs you need around your admin space and living space. Right, so an afternoon relax with a nice cup of tea, some nibbly versions of chocolate biscuits. I have moved the little rubbish bag from the corner of the tarp that was starting to sag the tarp down a little bit, all the way down against the tree. So now that's out of the way. Okay, so I've got a bit of a walk to come over to it, but it's out of the way, off the ground from creepy crawlies attracting anything. Not even had any flies buzzing around it, so that's more of a practical place now as it's getting a little bit heavier and a bit more full. Right, let's get back to that chair. My grass mat covering the fire pit. Ah, that's going to be good. I've not cooked chips outdoors on a wild camp for quite a few years, and the first time I did it after a very long time was at the prepper meet a couple of weeks ago, and fried up some new potatoes in some oil, just slowly cook them so they don't get burned and stuck to the pan. I'm going to do them tonight with some marrowbone jelly flavoured beef burgers. Put my food bag as a windbreak. Now the flames are a bit more direct instead of blowing to the right hand side of the Hexi stove. Job done. So I finished off the chips on the Hexi, and the stainless steel, obviously without the breeze cooling it down, maintains the heat, but then transferred the burgers onto a 533 stove. But I cut them into chunky strips so they can cook a bit, easy for me to say, cook a bit quicker. So that was yummy to the max, I can tell you. That was absolutely just right. Filled a hole. Let's say the second time eating chips, cooking them outdoors on a wild camp or an event, was really novel. So I'm definitely going to be doing that again. So you can expect to see that a bit more often in my wild camp videos. Fry some chips when you're outdoors. Okay, knife, fork and spoon, big deal. What about it? Yet another little set of items that was given to me as a gift about 4 years ago. Alex, met through the prepper meet and through YouTube and what have you, became sort of quite a close sort of associate, friend, socialising at some of the meets, and he gave me this first time meeting gift, titanium knife, fork and spoon, which I've brought out a few times. Sometimes I'll use the stainless steel one, the camping ones you can get for about £2, because the spoon's a bit bigger, but I thought no, I'm going to bring this little set out this weekend, fitted in the kit bag, food kit bag, quite nicely. Oh yeah, and that was bought for me, an ex-girlfriend, many years ago, God, 2008 I think, 2007, 2008, and that's been going strong. I've only had to replace the feeder tube and the valve connection. That was the early part of the year I did that. And she also bought me that wind guard. It's starting to fall apart now because I've had it for so long, but I still use it, still serves a purpose. But I bought that, all these things, that, and got that made to my specification. And now it's dessert treat time. Long life custard and a peach pine juice. A few of the people that are pitched up narrow boats just along the bank here, and where they've all gathered together in their space, their communal space. A couple of them have walked past me to go to a boat that's on the other side of this little bit of the bank, and they've introduced themselves, been really polite, and invited me over again. So I said what I'm going to do is I am going to actually stay another night. So I thought I'll pop over there just for the experience of it, just have a chinwag for an hour or so later on this evening when it gets a bit dark and they get the campfire going, just to chew the cud and just for a new experience. I normally like to be solitude on my own, but obviously I had no choice this weekend. I'd prepared so much and endeavoured to want to be out this weekend in the canoe. So you can hear them in the background having a bit of a banter. Yeah, so anyway, so I'm probably going to go over there a bit later on, but this is going to be my third night, and I wasn't probably sure whether or not I'd have enough food. Silly question to ask myself. I've always got enough food, so I bring a few extra bits and pieces, so if I change my mind I can have a choice, rather than just having breakfast, lunch, dinner, and then the same the next day, and then you've got 6 meals and that's all you've got limited to that. That's great if you're a minimalist, but because I wanted to be a little bit more open to be able to amend this, because I've got a few more meals left over, if I do get a bit peckish later on, I've got an MRE Moroccan bean stew, I've also got a treacle pudding, I've also got a vegetarian all day breakfast tomorrow morning, I've also got a snack shot soup, I've also got some of this stuff I use quite a bit for MIs. This lasts it's got shelf life about 4 or 5 years. But this is the one that's got stuffed veal and pork in peppers in a sort of tomato sauce with sweet corn, so that was another meal as well. So I've got enough stuff to keep me going. And as I said, I wanted to touch base with my subscribers and people who've been following me, just as I'm around and I'm still making video because of other circumstances, not just the lockdown since March this year, but other things. I don't like just to make videos for the sake of it, but it's certain aspects that might be similar to previous videos, and I've said this loads of times before as well, might be similar but different versions. So these past few days and tomorrow has been a slightly different version of what I've done before, so it's worth having some content to actually make a video. So it's just gone 2 o'clock in the morning, and this is about 9 o'clock. I've been over around the fire space of the group of people that have all met up, narrowboat dwellers, people that live on the waters on their boats, and they invited me over again, so I went over and met them, and that was quite a unique experience talking to them. All real cross section of people, very, very welcoming, and had a spice rum. You might be able to hear some, there you go, some voices in the background there. They're still carrying on. And yeah, it's been quite an unusual evening, from being all solitude and solo to just sort of breaking out the shell a bit, and then deciding to sort of socialise with people you've not met before, but they're friendly and very accommodating, and they were more than that, so it's been quite a good. I was going to video some of it being there, but here's a quick shot of the fire space when I was actually sitting with them. But for privacy, I didn't want to video anything sort of close up and it sort of be an event, because I didn't feel it was appropriate, although I wouldn't have minded doing it, and maybe they wouldn't have minded, but I didn't want to put it upon them in case they were just being sort of over polite and when they didn't really want me to video them. So a little bit of music playing in the background there, and they've got their little cascading lights that revolves around and goes underneath the canopy of the trees. Gives a dome effect of this sort of kaleidoscope of multicoloured lights over the top of your head, so that was quite nice. So what I'm going to do now is settle for the night and get a good night's kip. Good morning, it's about 9:30 and daylight rose around about 5:30, 6 o'clock. So of course if the light affects your eyes to wake you up, when I've got this buff on to keep the chill factor off my head, it was a little bit cooler last night, breeze kicked up, so I had the full softy suit underneath my unzipped sleeping bag, so it's the jacket and the trousers. But what I do is if I still feel a bit drowsy and tired and it's daylight, then I'll pull the buff down and then I double it, and it's just like wearing an eye mask, whereby you can continue to sleep without any interrupting light. Considering I decided to stay for a day longer, hence at this time I would have been at home, but I'm still pitched up, just about got enough fuel in there. Normally would do for about 3 days for what I knew I was going to use it for, but it's just getting its last dreg, so I was able to make a brew, boil up the kettle, got a bit of douching out water left in there just to clean up anything, get the worst of the residue off any saucepans and what have you. But if that does conk out, I've got the Hexmin stove, but I've got the firebox as well. I did bring the firebox, but I didn't fancy using it, so I might have to get that on the go. But that's the vegetarian breakfast that I just happened to bring with me as an extra choice. But of course it's done me because I decided to stay the extra day. So I can eat that cold if I want to, but I don't want to. I want it warm. It does taste a bit different when it's warm, so if that's just about enough to heat that through. Considering the lever is on full, it's as if I've regulated to be on very low flame, because of lack of fuel in the can. There must be a tiny minuscule amount. And of course leaving the lid on retains the heat, saves fuel, keeps the heat pressure in there, and it just makes it more efficient to either cook or heat food up. We're in luck. I saw a little bit of steam pumping away underneath. Yeah, it's going on a tiny little bit of a roll, you can see there. So I reckon I've just about got the dregs, last dregs of that fuel. But as I say, if anything else happened, anything totally unpredictable and unwanted, I've got the firebox and I can still strike up a fire. And I've got plenty of Hexmin blocks, although I've been using the, this is new Army issue. The Army get its smokeless, it's the gel, eco gel stuff. So I used 2 of those yesterday when I was doing the burgers. But I've got a whole stash of the old-fashioned Hexmin blocks, which I keep for backup, and also I've got at home, so I've got a pack of those with me. Always for backup, because you never know. And of course it's always been the preparedness mindset. Look at that. That's going to go down a treat. Nice and piping hot. I've also got just about a litre of water. And that will see me through, and I've got another in my water to go bottle, but that water was out of the river, so I didn't want to waste any drinkable water. I mean, I could even drink that now, but it's not going to taste very nice. I'll just scoop that out of the river, because that was a job of actually heating up the boil in the bag food. So just clean that up a little bit, just got the worst of it off, so I don't get any crap or gunk off it when I put it back in my food bag. Just utilising things that are around you. Okay, so it's just gone 4 o'clock on a sunny Sunday afternoon, and I'm ready now to leave. I've struck down my pitch, leave no trace, as always. That's where that fire pit was. That's where my basher footprint was. And that's where the fire pit was, and you wouldn't even know it was there. So I'm now just going to have something to eat before I leave. A tin of sweet corn and this tinned stuffed peppers with pork. So I'm now going to get on the waters, paddle back to put in, and say thanks for joining me after this long time of doing a YouTube video. Hope you enjoyed it, picked up some ideas, just enjoyed the experience, and I'll catch you in another video soon. Cheers. Take care.